Hello, friends. Welcome back to Module 9. This is the topic that I've only just been exploring for a couple of years now. And it was really not until I got the logistics of my life a little bit more under control that I was able to take a look at it. So, this topic is pleasure. And pleasure can feel like a really intimidating big word. So, what I like to think about is things that are pleasant instead of pleasure. Pleasure feels like it has like this little tinge of sexuality to it or this indulgence to it that makes me a little squeamish, maybe for you too. But pleasant is a much lower stakes word. Another word I love is contentment. So things that are pleasant or things that help you to feel contentment can be a really wonderful place to grow and to have more connection with. For many of us, we spend so much time in survival that we get very addicted to the chemicals that come with those defense state of fight, flight, or freeze, right? So those chemicals just surge through your whole body every time you have a real fear response, and they can become such a part of the way that your body moves through the world that when there is a calm moment, it can feel very unnerving and scary in its own right because we're not used to the absence of these chemicals. Okay. So, one of the areas to consider exploring and growing in is building in some connection with pleasant experiences that are not scary and are fairly calm and might first feel a bit boring, but connecting in with the contentment and being okay with sort of the boring. Okay, it's a learning curve. It's not necessarily going to feel um, accessible right away. Okay. So, my story that I think I've told is that I really wanted to connect in with pleasure, and I felt completely like I have nothing that is pleasure. The only times when I felt real joy and happiness was when I was doing something for my kiddo in my role as a parent. And so my pleasure was very role dependent. It had nothing to do with just me being me. And sometimes I would have a little bit of like a I did something well moment at work, and sometimes that would give me a little taste of that. But otherwise, it was just parenting. And I realized because I was experiencing shared custody that there were these like huge stretches of time where I didn't have anything to do as a parent. And I felt completely empty, like I didn't exist. And so I embarked on the journey to try to connect with pleasure, and I started with just reading 10 minutes of fiction a day. So I read a lot of parenting books and a lot of self-help books, but I had myself just read fiction. And I'll tell you what, at first I was having panic attacks. I was having such a hard time sitting there. I felt so guilty. I thought I should be cleaning the house. I should be earning money. I should be doing something for my kid. But I realized that not only was there a lot of codependency there, so a dependence on doing something for someone else, but there was a lot of the like productivity, like worker bee stuff coming up for me. And connecting in with just passing time in a pleasant way without like getting anything done um, was something that I could cultivate through practice, and that eventually has become really, really pleasant. So, again, it is not necessarily exciting, which is can be confusing because a lot of these teachers and people who channel people like Bashar, they'll say like, do the most exciting thing or follow your passion. And some of us can feel a little intimidated by that too. Like, well, what if I'm not excited about anything? I'm a little too tired to be excited, or I'm not feeling passionate about something. But I think it can be really lovely to follow what feels like contentment to you. Just it feels nice. And for a lot of us, it could be something that just doesn't make the situation worse. Okay. So let's say I have a Saturday without my kiddo and I don't have any big plans and there's nothing that particularly sounds exciting. But if I can pass the day with some activities that just don't make it worse, that just doesn't send me into a spiral, then that can be a wonderful sort of good enough. So something to think about with doing something that feels pleasant is that often we could do something that would be special for someone else too, okay, without the codependency part of it. So just in a like, it's fun to connect with someone else or share something, or to remember that my situation is not the only one where there's struggles, or my situation is not the worst one on the planet. So there's lots of resources online for things like this that can give you sort of an idea of a way to pass some time in a pleasant way. And it's really good, especially if you're someone who's feeling lonely, okay? Because you can feel connection through contribution. So you can look up random acts of kindness. There's a nice there's even a website that's like randomactsofkindness.com or something very simple like that. And they have like a calendar where every day gives you a new idea of something fun to do, like writing someone a note, or bringing someone flowers, or I like to do artsy things, so like making bookmarks to donate to the library for them to give out with the books that people check out, just any little thing that can fill a little bit of time, or learning how to try a recipe, or learning how to do something on a YouTube, learning how to say hello in another language, memorizing a poem, things that you would tell a kiddo during, like, say, a summer break if they didn't have any screens to fill some time, right? So there's also I'll attach a list of like 100 pleasant activities that I learned from DBT that has a lot of ideas. And sometimes we put a little too much pressure on our quote unquote free time for it to be like really productive, or us to be able to say, like, cross something major off your list or something. But maybe it's okay to just have it be not terrible, just pleasant. Something that can be okay. Like, I learned how to play solitaire and it's kind of fun, right? Or I like to do word searches, very simple word searches. I get little books of them at the dollar store, and they have inspirational quotes. So anything like that can be a lot of fun, or even plan a pretend vacation, or design a pretend kitchen just to pass some time. Not because you're actually going to do it, but just to pass the time in a pleasant way. So I hope that you explore some of these, and that you take the opportunity to connect in with some of this pleasant, non-pressuring, non-productive, non-monetized way to pass some time and to not make things worse. Okay, love you so much.